Hello and welcome. My name is Zafar Iqbal, and you're watching the Mojo Story. There is a lot of chaos and unrest in Nepal as we speak. These protests started yesterday when protesters came out on the streets. They were protesting against a ban on social media sites. Now, the government has agreed to the demands of the protesters. The ban has been lifted, but the protests are not going. The protesters are demanding that uh, that the government the corruption that they say is on in that country must end. We're joined by Namrata Sharma, who's a senior journalist from Nepal. Welcome to Mojo Story, Namrata ji. If I want to play these visuals to begin with, look at these visuals. These are the visuals of protests that are happening today. What is the situation there right now? It seems that the situation has gone out of hand. Many ministers have also resigned, and these protesters are not going away, though apparently their demands have been met. What is the situation right now in Kathmandu and in other cities of Nepal?
Zafarji, I thank you for having me, first of all. Um, Starting from yesterday, Nepal is actually a very sad country, having lost 19 of our youth.
Yeah.
And like you said just now, I want to correct you. You're saying that their demands have been met, the Genji demands, but actually that's not quite true. You know, Zenji has decided to stage a protest and come out on the street because of the corruption in Nepal. And the main points they say is, for their generation they feel that the government is has not given a good education system, a good environment for employment and safety, you see. So, and on the other hand, they have been observing and seeing the affluent lifestyle of certain political leaders and their families.
You're right.
So they have been opposing that. And the main campaign and protest that they have been doing is to end corruption in Nepal and make sure the country is a safe place for the youth, their generation. See, what
Right.
happened is, as they were working on this, there was a social ban inflicted in the country, and they somehow feel that that is also to curtail the fact that they were sharing and the lavish lifestyle of certain families of certain political leaders were being viral, and to control that and to also control the youth movement, the government inflicted ban on social media. But banning and uplifting of social media is not the only point that they have raised. Okay, so one thing the government has done is lifted the ban on the social media, but that doesn't mean that their demand has been fulfilled. So
Right.
I was actually
Right.
talking to a couple of Genji leaders recently,
Yeah.
and what they said is, first of all, they have killed 19 people yesterday,
Yeah.
injured so many, and tried to curtail the protest by the youth. And they have
Yeah.
problems in that, you know. So
Yeah.
they want answers from the government. They feel that Home Minister was not enough for them.
Right.
Recently, in the since morning today, there has been a series of resignation by different ministers, and the Rashtriya Swatantrata Party has decided to leave the government. So some of their activities are, their demands are being fulfilled in that way, but they want the prime minister to resign, and they want a proper dialogue and uh, स्वशासन, वो लोग का मांग है कि देश में स्वशासन एस्टैब्लिश हो जाए.
Right. So basically, this agitation, this movement is against alleged corruption in that country. But there are also reports that the prime minister might, in fact, leave that country. Some reports suggest that he can fly to Dubai. What are the reports that you are getting?
Well, the Prime Minister has actually called a special meeting of the cabinet
Yeah,
at 6 o'clock today,
yeah,
and there isn't much anticipation within the country that he might leave, although that's something that can't be ruled looking at the situation that's happening now. But there is more, I think, pressure on him coming from different sectors within his party, from the opposition, and from the parties that he is in coalition with to step down. The other thing, Zafar, you must know that this is a coalition government, and there was already planned that first Oli would head, and then the Nepali Congress would form. So now the younger, the other second tier leaders in the Nepali Congress, like Gagan Thapa and all, they have given a statement just recently, a 6 point statement, and one of them is now asking the PM to take steps and move ahead to make sure that this unrest that is happening in the country is calms down. You see, so the point is, Oli is being pressurized from everywhere, including the streets and the parliament. You see, to step down. So the smart move for him would be to do that. Although, I mean, looking at Oli's background, like rather than stepping out as a prime minister, he's always tried to be that. You see, but the sequence of events that has been happening all over the country now is actually pressurizing him to do that. So by the end of the day, more the anticipation is that he might have to resign.
right.
And if he
Uh,
does not, then he will have to flee. So the smarter move would be for him to
yeah.
resign.
So either he resigns or he has to flee because the protests are only escalating. But I want to show you
Yes,
these
and it's
visuals.
very interesting that they have inflicted curfew all over the country. And like you've been showing the pictures earlier,
Yeah,
Zafar,
yeah,
the curfew is being defied by this young group of people. And
yeah,
there are now lots of um, vandalism
yeah,
things coming, like
yeah.
people being attacked, Lekhak's house being attacked, Prachanda's house being attacked, and
Yes,
different other things being burnt. Like I just recently, just before I sat to be interviewed with you,
yeah,
I got a call from a friend saying that ULENS, which is a international school, I think, with base in UK. I'm not very sure. I think it's that, and which
yeah.
also has Arzurana Deuba as the one of the board or proprietors or whatever. And that school has been burnt. I heard from a friend. I'm not sure. I haven't verified it. So news like this is coming. Who's actually done it? People don't know. But when there is a mob in the street, the fingers are pointed towards that mob. But I personally do not know if it's actually the Genji Jews doing it, and I wouldn't go ahead and say that. So there
So,
is
so,
unrest
so
in
we are
the street
seeing,
in spite of the curfew. In spite of the
we are seeing,
curfew.
we are seeing this unrest, but at the same time, there is this violence and vandalism. The house of a former prime minister has been vandalized. There was an attack on the president's house. Which way are the things moving forward? It seems that the situation is going out of hand. Is this agitation, is this movement regulated, or it is very much chaotic?
It's getting a little bit, since morning, it's getting a little bit chaotic, I think. The problem is, I haven't been able to go out because there's restriction inflicted. The youth are out in the street, and vandalism is increasing too. But at the same time, you cannot point fingers at who's actually behind this vandalism. That's something that needs to be scrutinized and investigated.
Yeah.
And as you correctly said, the situation is moving towards a chaos. So, and the other thing is, um, there are leader figures, icons like Balen Shah, who is the mayor of Kathmandu, to whom the youth really look up to. But I was talking to a couple of Genji organizers yesterday, and they were saying that, when the time came to control the situation in the Kathmandu Valley yesterday, there didn't seem to be a lot of effort from the leadership. positions, you see. So the kind of the youth, the Genji was doing a very, very peaceful rally. They have no weapons, neither did they had yesterday, nor do they have now. The only power and strength they have is the voice they have, and now they have the social media back. So they've been writing and lashing back in the social media, but they don't have weapons. They're not being armed, you see. So they are a bit concerned on who is actually instigating the different vandalism and attacks. Yesterday's attack was from the armed forces, and the police attacked them. But today's, again, there's a question mark on who's trying to, put a blame.
Right. So basically, what you're telling us is that a curfew is in place, but people are defying curfew. People are out on the streets, these members of Gen Z, and they are wanting their demands to be fulfilled. One of their demands was the restoration of social media, which has been done, but they want the corruption to go, which is really an open ended demand. There is no end to that demand. Already, some ministers have resigned, and now the pressure is on the prime minister to resign, and there are some reports that suggest that he could, in fact, flee from the country. But at the same time, you are telling us that these protests seem to be turning towards chaos. There are some elements who are indulging in vandalism. There are many houses, house of a former prime minister that's been vandalized. A president's house has also been attacked. So all those things are happening. Which direction is this agitation, this movement moving forward as the authorities are clamping down on the protesters? How do you see the situation developing here on?
Well, I think we just talked about that. Nothing can be said as of now, but the situation is definitely heading towards the resignation of the KP Sharma Oli led government, you see. And there's also a possibility that the handing over from uh, Oli to the Nepali Congress could happen. That's one possibility. The other possibility is the toppling down of the overall government and trying to form another one. That is what the second option is what the Genji is demanding for. But how this progresses is something, it's a question mark that needs to be waited and seen, at least till the end of the day. But things
Right.
are
Oh,
happening very fast now. Things are happening very fast. Till
right.
morning, there was no vandalism. There was just defying of the curfew. Now there's vandalism. There's still a question mark as to who is doing it.
Right.
It could not necessarily be the Genji, you know.
Yeah.
And then how and then there's also progress series of resignation from different political parties, withdrawal of coalition partners. So it definitely looks like toppling of the government.
Right. It looks like it's going in that direction. But what I was trying to ask you is that we saw things unfolding in a similar fashion in Bangladesh some time ago. Sheikh Hasina, was the prime minister, fled from that country and uh, came to India, and then there was a military takeover for a while, and now it's headed by an interim government there. Do you think some similar sort of a situation getting replicated in Nepal, or the dynamics are entirely different in this country?
Well, dynamics are different. There's no doubt about it. But on the other hand, what is also happening is, although the dynamic is different, but the sequence of what happened in Bangladesh has similarity to the sequence that's happening now. There was also a youth-led movement, but that their movement was against to a certain quota system and also corruption. Here, the movement is against corruption mainly, and to make Nepal a safe haven for the youth of Nepal, which was triggered more recently by the ban on social media. You see, and then what happened in Bangladesh also, there was killing of youth. Here also there's killing of youth to a higher extent. The number is 19 here. So the
Yeah.
anger is now limited not only with the Genji group but with almost the whole of the country. People cannot imagine their children, their sons and daughters and their grandchildren being killed by the same authority that they elected to govern them.
Yeah.
You so we are the taxpayers. We are paying the salary of these policemen.
Hmm.
How can they aim and shoot at children who are in uniform of school and college uniforms? So this has really hurt not only the Gen Z now, the entire different generations that are alive in Nepal just now.
And
So
is this
actually, to
agitation now?
your question of where it is heading, definitely it's heading towards chaos. And to control that chaos, I think there is no option than for the Oli led government to resign and make sure that they pave a path in such a way that a proper, able government can come in place and restore peace and security.
Maybe fresh elections later on. But is this agitation spreading to other cities and towns of the country?
Yes, 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 right. Yeah, since yesterday only, it's not a Kathmandu centric one. And by the way, when I say Kathmandu, it's not only the capital city, it's the Kathmandu Valley we're talking about, which comprises of three different cities. And
Right.
it's happening here and in different cities all over in all the seven provinces of the country. And the curfew is also there in Pokhara, in Jhapa, in Biratnagar, and probably a couple of other places too.
So this sort of agitation is spreading to other places as well, and
Yes.
controlling that will be a big challenge for the government and the authorities. They resorted to force yesterday. The police used force, but today, how is the police responding? How are the authorities responding after the curfew is being defied by the protesters?
Well, as you can see on the pictures that you showed yourself, the forces are behind the mob.
Yeah.
But I mean, the injury level is increasing now. The number of injury, I don't know the exact number now, but it had crossed over 500. Then last night it was till 375 in the hospitals and over 400. But now the injuries have crossed over 500. Death hasn't been announced yet. No shooting so far. Yeah,
So
but there
they're
are
not.
armed forces out on the street trying to control the mob.
So what you're trying to essentially say that the next few hours or 1 or 2 days are going to be crucial for that country. What is Prime Minister Oli going to do? Is he going to resign? Is he planning to leave the country? That will also determine the fate of this agitation and how soon the things can get back to normal in that country.
I think a couple of hours itself will be very crucial and pave the path. And like by the end of today, I think a lot of things will already have happened. Otherwise, it'll be a situation that cannot be controlled of. And what happened in Bangladesh after Hasina fled the country and came to India, uh, looting started, right? So, to stop that, if I think our political leaders who are in the governing seat now need to plan so that such things don't happen in Nepal, you see. And so
Yeah.
I think they should have a proper dialogue with Gen Z and also with other youth leaders and try to come to terms to make sure that the uh, current situation gets smoothed down and um, it can lead towards a safe path.
Right, and the more it drags on, the more there is a possibility of a chaos and anarchy setting in, uh, and the situation really going out of hand. The things just started yesterday, but was it building up for some time, or it just started suddenly yesterday? Yeah, can you hear me, Namrata ji? Can you hear me, ma'am? Okay, we seem to have lost the line to Namrata ji, but she was telling us about the situation in Nepal, and the things are unfolding very fast, and there is a possibility that the Prime Minister Oli, might resign, and the next few hours are going to be crucial. Of course, we'll keep a track of this story. Uh, we'll keep a track of this and we'll keep following this story. But for now, thanks so much, Namrata ji, and thanks to our viewers for joining us and for watching the Mojo story. Thank you.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.